Yo, 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 welcome to MPN. My name is Kofi Yaboa,
And my name is Jesse Karangu.
and today we're gonna talk about Cornerstone. They made the news. A Pulse article says that they accused them of being maybe racist. You want to explain on what you wrote about, Jesse?
Yeah. So the Cornerstone Grill and Loft is under some scrutiny lately because there was a sign that allegedly said that patrons of the bar are not allowed to wear do-rags, basketball jerseys, sagging pants, or, quote, urban wear of any kind. And a lot of people did not like that, and they thought it was disrespectful, and they thought that it was not a kind gesture to put out there as a business that wants to be wholesome and welcoming to everybody. And one of those people happened to be the president of the Student Government Association here at the University of Maryland. His name is Patrick Ronk. And I asked him, if you see a sign like this, why not? We live in a social media age. Why not get a video of it or get a picture of it? He said he didn't think of it. It was not something that was like the first thought in his head. I'll read you the quote. He says, quote, "I didn't plan this as a stunt at all. This was a total spur of the moment thing." And so what he decided to do, as I said before, this is a social media age. So what he decided to do, instead of taking a picture for proof or whatever, he decided to post it as a status on Facebook. And of course, once UMD Black Twitter got word of this happening, ish got real. Kofi, you know too well about UMD Black Twitter and Black Twitter as a whole.
I love Black Twitter, but you're not safe. You're not.
No.
There's no leeway.
No.
There is no tightrope. You're walking into like a pit of lava, and there is no net at all for Black Twitter. Once you're on the wrong side of Black Twitter, you don't get back.
Exactly. It's very tough to get back. And let me just read you what Patrick wrote on Facebook. He said, quote, "Tonight, some friends and I decided to go out to some bars in College Park. I'm 21, don't have classes on Fridays, and didn't have much to do, so I went to Bentley's. After leaving Bentley's, we walked to the Cornerstone Grill and Loft, and I'd noticed a sign that roughly said they don't allow patrons to wear do-rags, everything I said earlier. So basically do-rags, basketball jerseys, sagging pants, urban wear. And this seemed kind of off to me, so I mentioned out loud that I didn't think their dress code was right. After this, a bouncer loudly yelled at me, saying, 'You're not black, dude. You don't have to worry about this.' He's right. I'm not black. I'm white. This apparently means that I have no obligation to be upset about a blatantly racist dress code that is designed to keep certain races of people outside of their bar. Great work, Cornerstone management. Despite the fact that there are long lines to get into pretty much every bar in College Park except for yours, you've decided that you want to restrict the amount of people who don't go to your bar even further. I've been saying for a while that I don't like going to Bentley's because of the long lines and the ridiculous cover, but at least they're not outwardly racist."
Are you sure that isn't a Yelp review? 1 star, will not go back again. But okay, so the dress code, I have more problem with what the bouncer said than the actual dress code.
And why is that?
Because everyone can wear a basketball jersey, sagging pants, or urban wear, you know what I'm saying? But not, black is not a dress code, you know what I'm saying? What the bouncer said was that you're not black, you don't have to worry about this. So, what he said...
Allegedly. Let's also point out, allegedly.
He allegedly said. Also, it's alleged that the bouncer is actually black. So, I mean, even if he's black, still saying that's kind of a bad look because you're a representation of a private organization. So, yeah, I mean, they're a private organization. They can do what they want. But, I mean, it's not illegal to be racist, but it's you want to be a business that, accepts a lot of people, you know what I'm saying?
Because everybody has money.
Yeah, there's only 3 bars. There's only 3 bars near that area. There's only Turf, Bent's, and Seastone, and then you got Looney's that's, a mile away. So, just be be silent, and people will come to you. You can't really mess up that much. There are only 3 bars.
Yeah. Well, to play devil's advocate, not necessarily devil's advocate, but to also bounce off that point, the manager of Cornerstone responded to Patrick's accusations and allegations, And I'm gonna read you what he said. He was engaged in a Facebook conversation with one of his Facebook friends who decided to post the conversation on Facebook. So I'm just gonna read the conversation along. Me and Kofi are actually gonna read it. I'm gonna read the part of the Cornerstone manager, and you can read the Facebook friend. So basically, the Cornerstone manager says. The dress code goes for anyone. He was just upset he didn't get let in. And the bouncer he was talking about is black. And the kid was being blatantly racist, saying we were trying to keep out black people. Mind you, half the people in our bar were black.
And he goes, "That's what I thought, LOL."
And the Cornerstone manager replies back, if we let him in with a jersey on, then we would be trying to be racist. Where did you see that? And
all right, now that's a good point. If he said if the white dude had on a jersey and was let into the bar, then that would go against what the sign was saying. So that's actually a great point.
Yeah. And then the guy, the Facebook friend says it's all over Twitter, and the Cornerstone manager replies, half of my staff is black.
All right, that doesn't get you off the hook at all. Like the McDonald's at Stamp, they're all Hispanic. But does the McDonald's owner care if they're Hispanic or not? Like that doesn't get you off the hook. Okay, it doesn't. That doesn't get you off the hook. But next point.
The Cornerstone manager then goes on to say that referring to Mr. Ronk, Patrick Ronk, the SGA president, and his friend, they were the only ones that got denied all night. Haha, tell him to come to Friday happy hour in the loft, and it's all black Greek life. We are so racist. He says that sarcastically, of course. And then he says, luckily he doesn't have a Twitter page. And then he also goes on to say later on in the conversation, it's just funny to me because we are the most diverse bar in College Park. He also says, I've been working here for over 10 and a half years, and to hear something like that is ridiculous. We have had a dress code for a long time. And I also want to mention that Looney's and Bentley's have the same dress code, if not worse. The city of College Park also made us enforce this dress code policy to deter gangs from coming to our establishment. So just want to make sure we're getting both sides of the spectrum.
So that he clearly just explains himself, and he does a great job of defending himself, and not really defending, but explaining. Defending as if they actually said something racist, and like, no, that's not what we were trying to. But no, he was actually right. He wanted to back it up with facts. The half my staff is black thing sounds like I have a black friend, but that was fine. And then he goes like all the customers on Friday are black Greeks. So
which I can attest to because I've been there on Friday afternoons, and everybody there on the top level it's basically African American or Hispanic or of a diverse background.
Yeah, so I feel like this is just an isolated incident. Now, if there were allegations that they were like charging blacks like double for certain things or something like that, then we can do some investigation or research. But like, this seems just like an isolated incident. And
so do you think Patrick Ronk just had like beef with Cornerstone because he wasn't let in and decided to make a big ruckus out of nothing, or do you think he has a point in that their sign seems to be targeting a specific demographic?
I don't know, man. Usually when you get let out of usually when you get denied out of a bar, you're not really the happiest camper. Especially if you're like supposedly the only one denied from a bar. It's like you're the only one not invited to a birthday party when you're like in 5th grade. But like,
or could it be a little bit of both? In a way,
it could be a little bit of both. What the bouncer said, or the bouncer's black, then he's just like you don't have to worry about this. You know how
and I think that delves into another conversation. Oh, let me let you finish your point.
No, we can go to the other conversation.
We can go to that.
This is hard to talk about.
Yeah,
really.
It's like, why is it that being black has a certain identity, has a certain perspective?
Yeah, the urban wear basketball jerseys, sagging pants, being associated with only black people is a little bit audacious. Because, like, sagging pants, like, I've seen other people do it. So, like, that's not that, like, that's pretty bad look if you're just, like, it seems like it's targeting. But if the sign says it's not. The sign, you have to have a strict dress code. If you're going to a bar in, like, a basketball jersey, that's pretty weird. And regards to just like in regards to just like people around campus. So I feel like it's a little bit of both, but it's just an isolated incident.
But even beyond this incident, why is it that, when being black is associated with certain things and being white is associated with certain things? We have these stereotypes where if you're wearing a suit and you're black, it's weird. It's funny looking, Every time I go to my internship and I'm wearing a suit around DC, like sometimes I might be walking through some rough parts of DC and people will look at me weird because they're not used to seeing that.
Hey man, that happens. You're not going to be able to fix that. And like, I mean, stereotypes are not really a thing that like will be fixed or erased, and like they're always going to be around. So like,
but what can we do to change that?
Nothing.
I mean, I disagree. I think the problem is that we don't promote stories of black excellence enough, of like the black people that are in private equity, the black people that are like in computer science, the black people that don't necessarily, they might not necessarily like hip hop music, they might necessarily quote unquote turn up at like black parties or do the stereotypical black things that you're expected of as a black person, but they still are deserving of the same identity as everybody else because that's how they were born. And those kind of stories should be promoted more.
I mean, I agree. I mean, you can say that about all races. Like, there's nothing I can tell you about that. I mean, that can be identified with all races, like any part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, like that's not going to be changed ever. I don't think.
Yeah. So in conclusion, if you were to be able to choose which bar you would go to for the night tonight, would you go to Cornerstone? Does this change your perception of whether you would go to Cornerstone or not?
Yo, I go to Applebee's, bro. Applebee's on Thursday is popping. Applebee's on
Is
Thursday
that karaoke
is
night?
pop. Yes, karaoke night at Applebee's is popping.
That food is expensive though. And
I don't care.
The food is so
Applebee's
expensive.
Who said we were getting food? Applebee's karaoke night. That if you don't know
if the
about
food is expensive, then the drinks have to be expensive.
Get hip to Applebee's karaoke night, man. Like really, that's a fun time. Because you're not just standing around in a bar. You're like actually like having fun, laughing at people singing awful like Eminem renditions and stuff like that. So I fully support Applebee's for what they do. Karaoke night's always great, and like.
So what's your second choice? So are you going to Cornerstone? Is this changing your perception?
No, I don't go to bars that much. Regardless, like I don't like bar.
Mm-hmm.
Things.
So. What about the typical person out there? Should they stop going to Cornerstone because of this?
No, if you're black and you get let into Cornerstone, like that, then you got in. Like what?
You're making the assumption that black people don't get into Cornerstone.
But that's what this is talking about. They're making the assumption that like they don't want black people at Cornerstone. But if you're black and you're in dress code, they let you in. Then that's like fine.
Mm-hmm. Because there are also some allegations out there on Twitter that Cornerstone purposely plays music that it doesn't tailor to the black community so that they don't have as many black people in their place of business.
That's another thing entirely. Oh, wow. I know someone that DJs at, like, Turf, and they play, like, EDM and house. Like, I like EDM. I like EDM in doses.
But they play
pop. Like, what do you mean? Like, just the random, like, pop, the summer radio playlist?
Cornerstone normally they play the summer radio list, and then they'll also play country. You rarely,
country. Ooh. That's bold.
You rarely, if ever, hear them playing hip hop music at Cornerstone. Never. I don't even remember hearing them play hip hop music.
But once again, that's a private establishment, so they can do whatever they want. And if you don't want to go, then just don't go. I feel like this is a problem because there are only 3 bars in that area, and then there's one like a mile away at Looney's.
Yeah.
If this was a campus that had like 13 bars, this wouldn't be a problem. This wouldn't be an incident. I don't think this would be like even like really a huge incident, because they'd be like, "Oh, Cornerstone, let's just go to the other 12 bars on that road." Like, we have choices, but here you have less choices because Green Barking Dog closed, and, I mean, that was only, like, 4, so, like,
yeah.
It's like you're playing Uno, and you have, like, only one color of the card, but the card you need to play is a different one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to go to a different place, but you don't have the options to do so. So that's what I'm saying. Why Cornerstone? This is why this is a bigger deal than it should be.
Okay. All right. I feel you. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Tune in next week or next day.
Or next hour.
Or next hour.
Or next minute.
We have no idea. I'm Kofi Abo. You can follow me at Kofi Speaks.
And I'm Jesse Karango, and you can follow me at JMKTV.
We will see you soon.